Okay, Daisy, and before I get into this week's episode, I have to address something about last week's episode that I did not pick up on. And apparently I'm just not up on my How I Met Your Mother theories, because apparently this theory has been going around for a year now. And people are saying that the mother is dead, and has been dead since the start of the story. I hadn't even considered that possibility, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. It would explain why we never see her with Ted in the future. It would explain why the episode was called Vesuvius, because I was really racking my brain. Like, how could an episode that was so bland have such a dynamic title? And Carter and Craig have always said since the beginning, people have asked them, how are you going to film the finale with the kids, because they'll be like 9 years older, and they've always said, we've had the finale filmed from the beginning. And I always kind of thought, well, wait a minute, how could you have the finale filmed from the beginning if, you only cast the mother last year? That would explain it. I went back and watched that 45 Days speech from the Time Travelers, and it gave me chills, listening to it with new ears in that context. And it would also explain why Josh Radnor gave such an emotional performance for that speech. So, on the one hand, that's totally depressing, and kind of a downer ending, especially for a show that's gone on this long. We want it to have a happy ending. We want them to find love and happiness and live happily ever after. That being said, one of my favorite things about this show has always been its willingness to address harsh realities, and the fact that not everything works out, and that's okay. Like, that's the thing, that's always been the show's, overarching message. Things can go very badly, as horrible as you could possibly imagine, but you can still find happiness. That, to me, is a more powerful message than, work hard and you'll get a magic happy ever after. My favorite episode by far is the one whose message is, sometimes dreams don't come true. But period. That, which may sound weird, but, the execution is phenomenal. The leap it's so hopeful for the message that it's putting across. So I can believe that. I can absolutely believe that this was the direction that Carter and Craig wanted to go all along. And this was the story that they wanted to tell. I read something about Carter and Craig saying this was their vision, and they hope that people understand why they did it this way, which, yes, it would be kind of a downer ending, but I would absolutely understand why they did it, and I would trust that they would execute it well, because they have executed that a similar message well throughout the show's run. Also, I hate to say it, but this season has not made me feel anything, at least not the way this show usually does. It's been bland filler and stupid jokes, and it's kind of been hard to watch. This, the idea that the mother could have been dead all along really punched me in the gut, and I almost welcomed that after, an entire season of not really feeling anything. They say bad art is art that makes you feel nothing. Even art that makes you feel angry or uncomfortable is better than something that doesn't make you feel anything, and I agree with that. So, I don't know. I think this could actually turn out really well for the series, if it's true. Okay, now with that said, on to this episode of Daisy, which I loved. Like, this has been probably my favorite episode this season so far. First of all, we had Robin's mother, who, what a pleasant surprise. She was not there to make awkward, uncomfortable jokes. Her whole dialogue was built around a very uncomfortable premise, but the execution, it could have been very flat, the way that she came in and was trying to reassure Robin that everything would be okay, but just absolutely saying the completely wrong thing. But it worked. It felt like she was genuinely trying to make Robin feel better and not just completely misunderstanding the situation. I found it incredibly refreshing that she wasn't there for comic relief, and she really was there for her daughter, and there wasn't this kind of resentment. Although at the same time, that kind of made me mad, because Robin's mom seems like a really good person. You know, we've spent so much time delving into how Robin's psychological abuse at the hands of her father has turned her into the person that she is, you know, self-sufficient but with trust issues and, you know, meanwhile, here's her mother who seems like a perfectly good influence and parental, you know, presence in her life. Why wasn't this explored more? But that, you know, that's just me nitpicking. It really frustrated me to see that, you know, Robin could have had this other person in her life all along, you know, making her not so starved for approval and attention. The one thing that did kind of irritate me was I thought they were playing up a little too much the fact that Barney was exactly like Robin's dad. Like everything that Robin's mother said, she was just like, oh no, you know, more and more, just getting worse and worse. Because I already feel like there's this wedge between Barney and Robin, and that certainly didn't help. I mean, look at Robin's face. She's having doubts right up until the day of the wedding. Again, there's no chemistry. That being said, when Barney came in at the very end and hugged the mother, and she said, oh, he's nothing like your dad. That was cute and sweet, and it felt very Barney-like. Like, even at the height of his sociopathic behavior, I could believe that Barney would greet his future mother-in-law that way. I won't say that it erased how I felt, you know, throughout the episode, but it certainly helped. And I guess that's the whole episode felt sincere. The way Robin's mother and Robin and Barney all interacted felt very sincere. I got a little concerned at the very end when Robin's mother said, "You do have someone that you trust completely, right?" And Robin kind of stares off and says, "Yeah," and they don't show who it is. But I think I trust at this point that they're done with the Ted Robin thing. That's got to be over, right? It's the day of the wedding. It's got to be over by now. It was great to see Ranjit back. I, wasn't expecting him to see him like this, but I'll take it. We've really been missing him this season, I feel like. Also, the driver's license joke was fantastic. You talk about a good joke to make in the final season of your show. And that's another thing. The humor in this episode was brilliant. Like a few of the episodes back I've said at least they've been funny, at least they've been entertaining, but mostly they just got, chuckles out of me. This one, I was laughing out loud several times. I think my favorite one was, when Ted pulls when Ted pulls the pregnancy test out of the flower pot, and there's this beat, and then Billy Zabka says, "You can smoke those?" The timing and the writing was just fantastic for this show. I loved seeing Zabka again. Wasn't expecting to see him again, but I like that he's still around. Boats. That was kind of a throwaway joke in, I can't remember the name, the ashtray. Where, he's the captain and she's boats. That's cute. That was kind of funny, but I was sort of thinking, yeah, that would be cute. And they did it! They saw an opportunity and they took it, and I liked it. It was kind of cute, and that's another thing about the captain. He could very easily have been this really unlikable character, and I would completely understand if he hated Ted and bore this really deep resentment and desire for revenge against him, but he doesn't. He's on really good terms with Ted, and I really like that about his character. He seems like a really nice guy, which makes me want him to get a happy ending, so, I like seeing him happy. This was a really good episode for Ted, because I feel like he honestly hasn't done much this season, except for pine over Robin, which has been terrible to watch. I liked the really great callback to the episode where he figured out about the argument between Lily and Marshall. It was just fun to watch him put all the pieces together. And the whole pregnancy storyline, to me, justified Marshall and Lily's entire arc throughout this season. Watching them has been so frustrating because they were apart for so long. They had a huge fight, and when they finally came back together, it felt like the fight got resolved way too quickly for the amount of build-up. But just seeing the continuity, the way these episodes connected, it was so satisfying, such a relief. When Marshall comes in at the very end and says, "Of course we're going to Italy. You need to have your dream because you're giving me mine." That was perfect writing. And yeah, you can't have everything. You just can't, but they made it. They took what could have been a really hard story to resolve and gave it a fitting conclusion. Don't bogart the Funyuns. I love that they brought that back. And Daisy. Oh my gosh. When we finally roll around to why this episode is named Daisy, oh, my heart just melted. That was perfect. That was so perfect. Wasn't expecting them to have another kid, but I really liked that. You know, Mickey goes to Rome with them. That's really sweet. I just feel like this is the episode that I've been waiting for all season long. It was such good writing. It felt like if you're going to do a filler episode, I feel like this is the way to do it. Because it was just kind of comfortable and slow and but it still felt relevant. It still felt like there was forward momentum. It felt like I was watching characters who have a big history interact on the day of one of their weddings, and it got me excited to watch the last few episodes, because I'll be honest, I'd kind of been dreading even having to sit through the last few. It's just the season has not been fun, and I kind of just wanted it to be over. But this episode reminded me so much of why I love the show. It made me wish it was still going. I'm glad it's coming to a close. Like, it's clear it's time to end the show, but I was just so happy. I was so happy. So happy that we got this fantastic episode. Please let me know what you thought. And here's to the next few episodes. I finally can't wait to see what they're going to do in the finale, and that's been what I've been waiting to feel all season long. So let me know what you thought, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.